Good afternoon, Representative Kuhn and distinguished members of the Committee on the Judiciary. My name is Andrew Mead. I'm the Senior Associate Justice of the Maine Supreme Judicial Court, and I appear today before you in my role as Chair of the Maine Justice Action Group, which we refer to as JAG. Thank you for this opportunity to address you here today. JAG was created more than a quarter of a century ago by then Chief Judge Frank Coffin of the Federal First Circuit and the then Chief Justice Daniel E. Wathen of the Maine Supreme Judicial Court. Didn't know you were going to get singled out this early in the proceedings, did you? You can't go anywhere anonymously. They brilliantly created a judge-led coalition of civil legal services providers, as well as organizations and individuals committed to civil access to justice. Our members include state and federal judges, nonprofits, civil legal aid providers, University of Maine School of Law Clinic, the Maine Justice Foundation, Maine State Bar Association, Maine Trial Lawyers Association, practicing attorneys, and others who are passionate about helping all Maine people obtain civil access to justice. JAG's primary missions include educating, informing, raising awareness, and advocating for funding for Maine civil legal services providers. That is why I'm here today, and I thank you for that opportunity. I'm accompanied here today by some wonderful, terrific people, the civil legal services providers. You won't find more public-minded, outstanding, dedicated people, and you'll be hearing from some of them a little bit later. I know that you're all well aware of the currently unfolding crisis in the criminal courts. People are confined to jail, waiting for unacceptable periods of time due to a lack of availability of counsel. A lot of people don't know this. I know you're all aware of it, but a lot of people don't understand there's an equally unacceptable crisis occurring on the civil side of the law that deserves the same, but not always receives equal attention. Civil legal services refers to civil legal assistance rendered to our neediest underserved populations. The needs vary, maybe advanced age, inability to speak the language or understand the culture, being mired at the bottom rungs of the economy, and the list goes on, but each has a predominant disability in common with the others, a crippling lack of ability to meaningfully participate in the benefits and protections that the law provides. When folks in those needy and vulnerable categories are forced into the legal system, it can be, and almost invariably is, intimidating, overwhelming, and deeply stressful. I've been a judge for the last 35 years, and I can say with the utmost confidence that nary a day goes by when the courts are open, when residents in your respective districts are seeking redress or responding to a legal proceeding in the courts of this state. If the courts are open, rest assured, many of your constituents are going through those doors alone, frightened. The legal proceedings they're facing are, in most instances, just as life-changing and consequential as matters pending in the criminal courts. Think protection from domestic abuse, housing, medical care, elder abuse, child custody, the list goes on and on. They're unassisted by counsel. They are utterly and completely unable to secure representation. And yet our aspirational goal is justice for all. I know I speak for my judicial colleagues in all the courts when I say it is gut-wrenching and heart-rending to watch. These folks come in, they're frightened, sometimes they're overly aggressive, they just don't know how to maneuver within the rules, the law, the substantive law. Representation is a key element in the pursuit of justice. Our 7 legal services providers are working at full capacity and beyond capacity to try and meet the goal. But the sad truth is that only a distinct minority of people who would otherwise qualify for this legal assistance actually receive it. The need is great, as you've probably heard and you'll hear again. The National Justice Index calls for 10 legal aid lawyers for every 10,000 low-income people. It doesn't sound like many lawyers, but as you will hear in greater detail, in the past, the appropriations allowed the providers to gravitate up from maybe 2 providers per 10,000 to somewhere hovering around 3, but that is in jeopardy, as you're going to hear about it. In preparation for my comments here today, I looked at the annual reports presented by the providers, and 2 things struck me really powerfully. I think these reports would be available to you should you want to look through them. But first, the providers are doing extraordinary, amazing work with the resources that they can bring to bear. The reports are fascinating, As I said, if you wish to read them, I think you'll be very impressed with what they're doing, what they've got. They don't duplicate efforts, they collaborate. But secondly, and sadly, the reports also have numbers relating to qualifying people who had to be turned away, said, we don't have the lack of resources. Otherwise, we would be happy to help you, but we can't. They're turned away. They're left to navigate the judicial system, the complex waters of that system alone. In many instances, grant funding and one-time funding will probably be uncertain, dry up in the future. Today, we're at a crisis point. We're at a tipping point, and you'll hear more details about this in just a moment. The legislature has provided some funding and continuity and one-time appropriation. With the discontinuance of that, if there's no plan for the future, these efforts, these providers will fall off a cliff, and they can explain that in greater detail. It's not simply a matter of finances. It's a matter of the people who will be falling off the cliff with them. So I realize that those are arguments, I suppose, to be made to the appropriations folks. But you folks get it. You're judiciary. You understand the need, and I probably didn't have to go through all the details here, but you understand it. You get it. I hope you will share with your colleagues your commitment to that process and the importance of appropriate funding. So my urgent message today boiled down to its essence. The providers need and deserve adequate, consistent, reliable funding stream to continue their vital work. They need to be able to look forward to a predictable future. So I thank you for your kind time and attention. I'm available for questions if you wish. And as I said, there will be some other folks you'll hear from with greater detail in just a moment. And nice to see you, Senator.
Yes, thank you for your remarks. We'll take a moment and introduce committee members who have joined us.
I'm Senator Ann Carney. I represent Senate District 29. That includes South Portland, Cape Elizabeth, and some of Scarborough. I apologize for being late. I was presenting a bill in another committee, but it's very nice to see everyone this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Danny O'Halloran, and I'm from District 20, which is the majority of this industrial city of Brewer.
Are there any questions for Justice Mead?
May I just say, with Senator Carney's arrival, the Maine Supreme Judicial Court has established a program called Katahdin Counsel. And it's to recognize lawyers, private lawyers, who invest 50 hours or more of pro bono work to Maine's underserved citizens. Senator Carney has been a repeat recipient of the Katahdin Counsel for her work, so we thank you for that. I'm sorry for jumping in. I'll recede and concur.
That's a worthwhile interruption. Thank you for doing that. Committee members, are there any questions?
Going once, going twice.
Not seeing any. Thank
you very much.